Hi, good afternoon. My name is Bill Kessler, and I'm with Bywater Solutions. And we're excited for you all to join us today for the Aspen Lita mobile experience. Um, just a few house cleaning things. If you have any questions, please ask them in chat. We'll be monitoring those. We'll keep up to date as answer those as fast as we can. So I would also like for each of my panelists to introduce themselves. So Morgan, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, my name is Morgan and I am an Aspen implementation specialist at Bywater. I basically help train libraries and help them implement their new Aspen discovery layers. And that also includes Aspen Lita. I will turn it over to Jordan.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jordan Fields, and I am the Aspen product librarian. And I think I have the best job on the planet because I get to work with all of you on what Aspen Discovery and Aspen Lita, what we can do for your libraries with that software.
Thanks, you all. So with Aspen Lita, it is complementary to Aspen Discovery. So if you have Aspen Discovery, you automatically also have Aspen Lita. And I'm going to turn it over to Jordan now for her to do her presentation.
Thanks so much, Bill. So as Bill said, we're here today to talk about the Aspen Lita mobile experience. And Lita, if it wasn't already clear, is our mobile app. So I just wanted to start with a few facts about Aspen Lita. Aspen Lita came from one of our partners, actually created an app and then decided to contribute it back to the community in 2021. And that was Christopher Zorn from the Ajax Public Library in Ontario. Since that time, one of our developers here, Kirsten Krager, has taken Lita and built on it every month. So if you have Aspen Lita, you're going to get updates every month from us. So if you saw one of these Lita webinars a while back, you'll see some more fun stuff today that we've added since then. If you're wondering how we chose the name Lita, Lita stands for Library Discovery App. And we also really love this name because it means loved by the people. And we believe that Lita is definitely loved by those that use it. There are two flavors of Lita. There is Aspen Lita or library branded Lita. And I'm going to show you a little bit more about the difference between those two. So Aspen Lita is a single shared app. Anybody that has Aspen Discovery automatically gets Aspen Lita if they want to turn it on. So when I say a shared app, think about Hoopla and think about how there's only one Hoopla app and all of the libraries use it, or there's only one Libby app, but everyone just kind of uses it and then they find their library within it. So just like those apps, there's a combination of branding. So you'll see the Lita branding, and then you'll also see library logos in certain places. And like I said earlier, it just comes with Aspen Discovery, which is great. For libraries that want something different, we do also have something called Library Branded Lita. And what this means is that it is an app that it's all the same functionality. It's just that the branding is specific to your library. So the patron can search the App Store by your library's name instead of needing to know to look for Lita. There's no mention of Lita in there. All of the colors are yours. All of the logos are yours. We work on setting this up together. You'll have to set up some accounts with the app stores because the app is actually owned by you. And then you'll give us access to work in that app. We'll actually be publishing publishing the app from those accounts, but the accounts still have to be owned by the library. And there is a small additional charge for the library branded Lita, and that's really just to cover our costs because we'll be essentially managing a separate app outside of the one that comes automatically with Discovery. So that is the very quick version of what Lita is, and I think the best way to see Lita is to look at it. Look at it live. So we are going to do just that. All right, let me get my windows arranged so I can see everything on the screen. So what you're seeing right now is a phone emulator. You're not actually looking at my phone, but it has almost all of the exact same functionality. And here in the center, you see three different apps. The first one is that shared Lita app that I mentioned, and we're going to be spending most of our time in there today. But I also wanted to give you some examples of the library branded app. So here you see the Salina Public Library, just a single branch library. Or not single branch library, but a single library, as well as the Yavapai Library Network, which is a consortium that decided to do the library branded Lita. So I'm going to go ahead and open up. This is as if I were opening up Aspen Lita for the first time. So the first thing you see here is select your library. As I said, this is a shared app. So patrons are going to have to find their library. We do have geolocation. If you put your address information into Aspen Discovery, most of Lita is managed in Aspen Discovery, then it will geolocate to where your patron is and help them find their location. But we're doing a test today, so I'm just going to go to the main library right here. And then you're ready to sign in. Just your normal barcode and PIN. And log in. And the first thing we load are the browse categories, just like you would see if you come to the home page on Aspen Discovery. Now, some of the really cool features with browse categories on Aspen Discovery make an even bigger difference in Lita. So right now we have the personalized browse categories up here at the top. So let's say I'm a patron. Well, I am a patron, of course, I use the library. And when I've come to the library today, I just want something to read. I have a book club that I go to, and maybe I'm looking for something for me, something that I might want to recommend to them. So the very first browse category up here is recommended for you. Recommended for you is built off of titles that you have rated in the past. So again, as soon as you log in, I'm going to see these, and I'm just going to kind of browse through these. Oh, and here's one that I recognize, City of Girls. That's one I've been kind of meaning to read. I think my book club would really like it. So maybe I'll put a hold on this one to see if it's something I might want to recommend to them. So this is what I see. I see the library has it as a book. It's in English. If I want to see where it is right now, we have this where is it, and it will tell me. We have, it's a popular book, so there aren't any copies right now, but it is at the main library. I'm going to go ahead and place a hold on this. Now, Aspen Lita, if you're familiar with linked accounts in Aspen Discovery, Lita also supports linked accounts. I'm going to leave this with my name, because I'm going to put it on hold for myself. But if I wanted to put it on hold for someone else with a linked account, I could. I can also change my pickup location. I'm at the main library, so I'm going to keep it at the main library and go ahead and place a hold. So again, all of the same functionality that you're used to with Aspen Discovery, you can choose to go to the holds. We're going to look at the holds later, so I'm not going to worry about that right now, and just click OK. Now it tells me it's on hold for me. I'm also going to add it to a list. Like I said, I think this is one that I might want to read with my book club. So just so I don't forget about that idea, I'm going to go ahead and add it to my for book club list and then save to that list. Okay, so mission 1 is accomplished. I have something that I can, hopefully will be ready for me soon to pick up at the library, and maybe something that my book club might like. I'm going to go ahead and look down through this kind of Netflix style, browse a little bit more. The next thing you'll see are, again, this is how my browse categories are set up in Aspen Discovery. So if you have Lita and you're not seeing these, talk to us and we can make sure that your saved searches are at the top as well for patrons. But I, as a patron, my favorite author is Isabel Allende. So I've set up a saved search right here. And it's organized by whenever the library has a new title, it's organized by most recently added. I'm going to see that book right here, which is kind of cool. So if the library decides if it acquires a new book by her, I'll know right away. I have another saved search, online movies, and these are movies mostly coming from Hoopla, but I have it set up to be whatever streaming movie. So Friday night when it's time to watch a movie, I can go ahead and just go through here and see if anything looks interesting. You might notice this new button right here. So what we're doing is anytime a title has been added to Aspen Discovery in the last week, it's going to get this new badge right here. It makes it really easy to see the fresh things coming into the library. And keep in mind, that's really truly new titles. Anything that you have in the catalog already, even if it's because we have those grouped works that group all of the editions together, if you just bought a new copy of something or bought something in a new format, that's not going to count as new. We really want just the new titles, but they're going to get this new tag. Now, something that I can't really show you in the emulator, although I'll show you a screenshot of it later, is that we now have notifications in Lita. So that if you have a new title coming into one of your saved searches, we're going to notify you via an app notification. If you allow notifications, we're not going to annoy you. We can't, even with apps. We'll let you know that you have a new title, and it'll say, hey, your saved search online movies has some new titles. Okay, then we get into my lists. So that book club list that I was looking at earlier. I also have an Indian cooking list. So this is set up to have all of my personalized stuff right at the top. If I want to, I can go ahead and load all categories. And then this is going to pull in all of the browse categories the library had. So I had one more list, camping. This is obviously a list the library put together. The book was better. We have New York Times lists right here. Again, Aspen includes integration with the New York Times app. And this one I like, it's kind of a list of lists. So if I go ahead and click on one of these, I can see all the titles that are on that list. And next I come to Overdrive magazines. Now, maybe this is new to me. Maybe I didn't know Overdrive actually had magazines. I can get electronic magazines. We can go ahead and click on one of these. How cool. So I see the magazine right here, Format E magazine. I can check out in Overdrive. I'm going to go ahead and check out this title. And this time I'm going to go to checkouts. I just want to show you like how easy it is from the time I can access it online at Overdrive. So from the time I check it out, I can be reading it. I'm reading it almost faster than I can tell you what I'm doing. So read in browser. And then here I am with this magazine. So that works for all of our Overdrive titles are just that easy to do. Let's go back. I'll show you one more thing with those browse categories. So some libraries have lots and lots and lots of browse categories, and maybe some of these you're not interested in. Maybe there's one for preschool kids and your kids are older, or maybe there's one on cars and you're just not interested in cars. You actually have the option to manage browse categories here. So if there was something you didn't want, you can just toggle that off or toggle it on. Okay. Next, I want to show you a little bit about how to search in LiDA. So you have, as a library, you can set up some quick searches here. So I've set up a few, just that'll do a search files here, everything Halloween. You can click on that and then just see the results for fall. But I want to do a search. One of my daughter has been really into the Hunger Games books recently, and I like to keep up with what she's reading, and also teen books are just kind of fun. So I kind of take her recommendations. So she's been reading the Hunger Games. She's done with the first book, and she's ready to read the second book. I know I've heard of the name of the second book. I don't remember it. I just know it's Hunger Games. So I'm just going to go ahead and search for Hunger Games. Now, one of the nice things about LiDA is that you get the same search results that you get with Aspen Discovery. So you get the record grouping, you can see all of the formats. And then notice I only searched for Hunger Games, but I'm seeing all of the Hunger Games books right at the top. And I immediately, oh yeah, Catching Fire. Now I remember that's the one. That's the one that she's reading right now. So you can see it's available in multiple formats. I'm going to switch over to the e-audiobook. And then we pull together all of the different e-content platforms. So you can see that this title is available. I have my choice between Overdrive and Hoopla. And because you can tell I'm a Libby user, I already checked something out in Libby. I'm going to go ahead and check out in Overdrive. This one's still going to check it out to me. And I'm going to stay here right now because I have a little bit more searching I need to do. So great. Now that's on hold for me. The last thing I want to search for, let's just say I know that in the next few months, I'm going to be doing some Halloween crafts with my daughter's scout troop. And so I'm going to search for Halloween crafts for my next time that I visit the library. Okay, so we can see a number of books. I'm just going to pick a few that look good. This time I'm going to create a list. I'm going to add it to list. And this time, instead of adding it, you can see it remembered the last one I was working on. Well, I'm going to create a new list right here. Halloween crafts, I'm going to keep it private. No need to make it public. This is just for me. Go ahead and create that list. Then I can go down through here. I can add to list. It remembers the last list that I worked on, save to list. Got little fat fingers with my pointer here and clicked on the title anyway. Let's do maybe one more.
And Jordan, while you're adding this to the list, we have a question about series. And if series volume number shows anywhere in LiDA.
We don't have the series volume numbers showing in LiDA just yet, but that's an excellent thing to add, and I'm sure we'll have it in the future. We do have it in Aspen Discovery. So we are kind of being careful with, because it's a smaller device, being careful with how much we add there, a piece at a time. But I think that series is definitely something we should be looking into adding there. Okay, so I added a couple of titles to that Halloween list. I kind of want to show you what those lists look like. So I'll show you one more time what I clicked on. Down here in my account, we can open the My Account drawer. And then we have all of our lists down here. So that book club list I was looking at earlier, my 2 others, and then Halloween crafts. Let's explore a few of the other things that you can see within my account. I'm going to start up here at the top with checked out titles. I mentioned earlier that we had those linked accounts. So you can see right here which titles are mine and which titles are the person that I'm linked to. So right here, checked out to M. Noble from the main library. And then most of the rest of these, J. Fields, J. Fields, J. Fields, the rest of these down here are all mine. You can also see when a title is overdue. We have this nice little button right here. So one place to look at all of your checked out titles. Also within my account, we have titles on hold. The same thing, because I have linked accounts, I'm going to see I have 2 ready for pickup with the badge at the top that the person I'm linked to has put on hold. So I should probably, as I'm there, go ahead and pick up those DVDs. I can see the City of Girls that I put on hold earlier, and then some other titles that I had checked out. Now, I noticed that this was maybe something that one of our kids wanted to read. My linked partner also already had this checked out, so I don't need this anymore. I can go ahead and click on this if I want to cancel that hold. And then that hold is canceled for me. I can also freeze holds. So let's say this one looks more interesting than In the Night Wood. I'm going to go ahead and take In the Night Wood, and let's just freeze that one. I want to make sure that I read the other one first. Hopefully it comes in. Let's just say October 7th and freeze hold. So everything that you would normally do with holds, that's all available within LiDA. Okay, we already looked at lists. I also want to show you those saved searches. So of course, these are available with my setup and the way my browse categories are set up by my library on the Discover screen. But if your library doesn't want those on the Discover screen, they are still available in the saved searches here. I can go to those online movies and just browse any of these new movies. Hoopla has new movies every day. There are a few other things that we have within the account here. You can just see a little bit of profile data. And here is that linked account section. So you can actually link accounts from within here. You can remove a link, and you can also see people that have linked to your account. So if I wanted to add an account, I don't have one to add today, but you just need the library card and PIN password. So obviously you need to be sharing that with the person you're linking to. The last thing we have in here are preferences. So we still have that manage browse categories that we saw earlier. This is another place to get to that same setting. But you can also manage notifications here. So if you want to be getting those notifications for the saved searches, this needs to be turned on within Aspen Discovery. Right now, we have it defaulted to off. Later, we'll make it an option for libraries, whether they want this to be default on or default off. I can't actually turn this one on because I'm on an emulator, and you can't do notifications on the emulator, but it works on a phone. Let's see, what else do we want to show you? We have a built-in library card within Aspen, and it's easy access right down here, so that if you're at the library, you no longer have to carry your library card as long as your library has the barcode scanners. You just have to hit card right down here, and you can scan it. I remember the one thing I forgot that I wanted to show you is this dark mode. It's this little moon down here. It switches to a sun once we get into dark mode, so you can switch back to sun. And now you can see everything is in dark mode. So when you're kind of reading those books in the dark at night, or you don't want the extra light in your eyes right before you go to bed as you're kind of looking through the library, you have that option here.
So Jordan, we have a question about notifications. Can you choose specific notifications, like only for holds or overdues?
So we I am one and show you how some of those are set up. So let's come back to that question after we notifications.
Okay, and just as a note, at the very beginning of that, you kind of cut out. So we don't know what you said at the very beginning.
Okay, thank you. We are going to more notifications in a minute. So I have a slide and we'll talk and then we'll see if you have any questions. But just to quickly answer that one, we don't have notifications for holds or overdues or things like that quite yet. Okay. So that is the tour of the shared Aspen LiDA. And you could see, let me show you one more thing. Things like branding, you can see the library branding up here. This is where your logo would appear, or in my account, your library's logo would appear up here. But still on the splash page or places where we don't have that option, it has to be shared. That's going to be where you see this shared LiDA branding. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at one of the library branded. I'm going to go ahead and pull up Salina Public Library. And notice there's no location picker. It's just Salina Public Library. You put in your barcode. Forgive me, I cannot talk and type numbers at the same time. 1 second. Okay. Log in. So as you can see here, colors are a little bit different. If you go into card, you have the library's logo there. Don't see any sign of the LiDA. It's all just this library, but otherwise functionality is exactly the same. It's really just a matter of the look and feel and the branding. I'm not going to log all the way into Yavapai Library Network, but I do want to show you what it looks like. So they're a consortium. So they do still have the select your library. I'm going to click select your library. Like I said, it's geolocated. So whatever's closest to the patron will be up here at the top. And then they would select their library just like we did the first time and move on. If you are a consortium, you can actually kind of combine these two different options. You can have a consortium-wide app, which we have a couple of different consortia doing right now. But if, let's say, one of your libraries just really wants their own app, each library can actually have their own app as well. So we can configure this any way you want for library branded. It can be consortium-wide if everyone knows Yavapai Library Network is in this case, or if one library really wants their own, LiDA's flexible enough to do that. Any questions on that before we go back to the slide deck or anything you want to see and talk notifications?
So I have a question about, is the library able to put out messages to the patrons, like they left something in their book, anything like that as when they log in?
Not specific to an individual patron yet. Although we do, well, as of it's in testing right now, so I'm going to show you a little bit of it. We'll have the option to be able to send things to groups of patrons that are either at a specific library or a specific patron type, or kind of that combination of those two. Any other questions? Okay, let's go back. We'll go back to the slide deck then. Okay, demo time is over. So notifications. As I said earlier, the first notification that we did are new titles that are added to saved searches. So because we know people have saved searches for either specific topics or specific authors, LiDA will do a push notification to say, hey, this has been added to your saved search. And you can see an example of that here. Again, not something we can really demo in a webinar, like that's the real code working, but you can see it here. Coming soon, and by soon I mean probably next month, like I said, it's actually in testing right now, are custom notifications that are configurable by your library, by your branch, or by the patron type. And I am going to actually show you what that looks like right now. So this is on our test system. So the options that you would have if you wanted to send out those customized notices. I have two set up right here. For those of you that already have Aspen, this is just going to be under local catalog enrichment. It's the same place you set up system messages. We thought about building this in with system messages, but they really ended up being quite different and maybe used for different purposes. So it is separate. So within LiDA notifications, you could create a new one. I'm going to edit an existing one so you can see that there's already data in there. You give it a title. So Banned Books Week at the library, very timely. Then you can have a message. Come get a mugshot with your favorite banned book and show support for the freedom to read. We do have emoji support within these messages. You can select the both date and time for it to send. This is something that I learned about notifications I didn't realize before we started working on this, but notifications can expire. So this is when the notification, if you've ever noticed one kind of goes away on your phone, you can set a date that it expires. So if you're sending a notification to everyone, maybe at a specific branch that an event is canceled or that the library is going to be, late opening 2 hours, you can have that notification expire after that time. So same thing, so you can set a date and a time there. A call to action, so where this notification will go, the URL. And then here's where the customization takes place. You can select which libraries. So this section right here, if you're not familiar with Aspen Discovery, is more for consortia, so if they have multiple libraries. Your locations are your branches, so they're all selected here. But if it was, pipe burst at the East Branch, you can go ahead and only send it to those East Branch patrons. And then you can also kind of narrow it by patron type. So maybe you're only sending it to your teens, or I keep thinking of staff use cases here. If all of your staff has the app and you need to get a message out to everyone on staff, they all have the LiDA app and you can send that message out to them. So that's, again, can't show you it, but I can't show you it working in LiDA. This is something that, again, isn't live. We're planning on it being live next month, but you can see that it's set up here and ready to go. The last thing that I wanted to show you, running a little bit out of time, is our help center. There is information on LiDA here, both setting it up and downloading it. So help.aspendiscovery.org. If you want to get to LiDA without searching the App Store, you can get that here. Okay, whoop. Last thing is how to get LiDA. So for regular Aspen LiDA, you need to already have Aspen Discovery and then just put in a ticket. That Help Center also has instructions. So if you're kind of a do-it-yourself person, you can do it there. And then there's a couple things you want to configure, but it's pretty quick. Secondly, for library branded LiDA, you do have to let us know that you're interested, and you'll be talking to Bill then. And then there will be a few things for you to do as far as setting up those developer accounts that I mentioned, as well as creating some additional logos and some text to go in the App Store. So that's really it for LiDA. I have just a little bit of time for questions. And Bill, are there any questions?
So there was one that came in. Are there plans to have biometrics to log into an account?
I would love to do that. I did not mention this, but once you are logged in, it stays logged in. So you don't have to do that typing every single time because it's an app and we recognize if it's on a personal device, we will leave you logged in. But I would love to do biometrics. We don't have immediate plans as in like the next few months, but I think that makes complete sense because, only us librarians have our library cards memorized.
That appears to be the only other question. Any question more? Anyone else want to put one in the chat?
I know we have had questions before about, are we going to allow for account switching? So if different library systems using Aspen are next to each other and you want to easily switch between two accounts.
Right now we're relying on linked accounts for that functionality. But you're right, Morgan, like a number of people have asked for that. So that's something we'd have to do in the future. There might be limitations such as you might need to use just the Aspen LiDA app for something like that. But once we get a little bit closer, we'll figure that one out. But that's the advantage of the consortium app for sure. Like you saw with the Yavapai Library Network and the linked accounts in there, you're already set up to do that.
Perfect. Thank you.
And we have one more question that came in. Can you use username instead of library card to log in?
That's going to depend on the ILS. You should be able to, but it would depend on the ILS and whether or not the API supports that. I will say if you can in Aspen Discovery, you'll be able to in LiDA. It works exactly the same way. Okay. If that's it, then thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate talking with all of you. It's such a pleasure to show off LiDA. and have a wonderful day.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.